Japanese television assistant director Takeru Tamanigwa was sent to Sonido Tortuga to help produce a reality program called Idol Survival. Several young swimsuit models and entertainers are brought to the island and placed aboard a luxury yacht called the White Castle. Among the contestants is Mayu, a kind-hearted but inexperienced idol, who the assistant director quickly becomes protective of. The other major contestants include Laura, Kylie, Coco, Zilly, and several other supporting models. The production is led by Mike Seaman, a manipulated producer who claims the women will compete in survival challenges around the island. Contestants believe everything is staged. They do not know that the island contains an abandoned umbrella facility, or that Seaman had deliberately brought them into an active bioweapon testing ground. Shortly after arriving, the production crew visits a local village and meets a mysterious shaman. The villagers speak of monsters, curses, and a forbidden area surrounding the island's ancient shrine, but Seaman dismisses their warnings and orders filming to continue. During one of the first challenges, Kylie steals supplies from the others and tries to complete the challenge alone. She is suddenly attacked by a huge, amphibious creature armed with a harpoon-like weapon. Takuru later nicknames this creature Mario. Mario kills Kylie and begins hunting the remaining contestants. Takuru manages to drive it into the sea. Takuru and Mayu flee into a cave and discover it is filled with infected villagers. The missing inhabitants have been transformed into zombies, and the infection is already spreading towards the beach and the White Castle. Meanwhile, Coco is injured and eventually turns into a zombie. Other contestants and crew members are attacked as the infected emerge from the jungle and even begin swimming towards the yacht. Communications equipment aboard the White Castle had been sabotaged, preventing survivors from calling for help. A fire breaks out and the ship becomes overrun, and the remaining crew members are forced back onto the island. Takuru and Mayu eventually reunite with several survivors, including Laura, Zilly, Brown, and Alexander. Brown initially becomes the group's leader because of his survival experience. Takuru, however, gradually proves that he is willing to risk himself for others rather than simply escape alone. The group suffers another loss when Brown realizes he had been infected. Hikaru cannot bring himself to kill him, so Brown takes his own life before he can transform. Away from the television production, Claire Redfield is already investigating unusual biological activity in the region for TerraSafe. Mutated sea life had been appearing near the island, suggesting that a biological agent is leaking into the surrounding water. Claire sends TerraSafe members Anisa Daiko and Marilu Mabu to investigate the island, while she examines the wider outbreak. Maribu was born on the island and knows the island's customs. Her personal connection to the village becomes important when she and Inez discover an old temple hidden in the jungle. Inside the temple, they find a gigantic, four-armed creature restrained as part of an old ritual. The shaman claims that the monster was once Lopez, the man Marilu had been expected to marry. Lopez had been transformed into a bioweapon called the Shoroba Daman. Although most of his humanity was gone, traces of his memories and feelings for her had remained. Seaman releases the creature, intending to create a spectacular massacre that can be recorded and transmitted to the world. His plan is effectively a bioweapon demonstration. The deaths of the contestants would advertise the creatures to terrorists and governments interested in purchasing BOWs. The plan immediately turns against him when the daemon awakens and kills Seaman. Inez and Maribu barely escape. Before fleeing, Inez successfully transmits a distress signal to Claire. Claire realizes the incident is beyond TerraSafe's ability to contain and contacts Chris Redfield. Chris is involved in another operation in the Mojave Desert and cannot travel to the island himself, so he sends a veteran BSAA agent called Parker Luciani to lead the rescue. Parker arrives with the BSAA soldiers and 2 helicopters. However, the daemon attacks the aircraft, damaging the rescue operation. Claire joins the mission and helps locate Takaru, Maya, and the other surviving contestants. Parker orders Claire to guide the civilians to safety while he stays behind to fight the creature. Mario also returns. Instead of immediately killing everyone, the creature appears strangely focused on Marlo. Its hesitation suggests that, like the demon, it retains memories from its former life. Parker battles both monsters, while Claire leads the survivors into an underground elevator. The elevator carries them beneath the island and into an abandoned laboratory responsible for the outbreak. Inside the facility, the group discovers that it once belonged to Umbrella. The lab was used by Alex Wesker, one of the surviving children from Project W. Oswald E. Spencer had ordered Wesker to research a method of achieving immortality. The research on this island was known as the Kodoku Project. Kodoku is based on an old ritual in which poisonous animals are sealed inside a container and forced to kill one another. The final surviving creature is believed to possess the combined poison or strength of everything it had consumed. Umbrella adapted this idea into biological research. Villagers and experimental organisms were infected with different viral strains and forced to fight. Each battle eliminated weaker mutations. Researchers then extracted the biological material from the strongest surviving creature and used it to create increasingly powerful strains. The island's entire ecosystem became a laboratory governed by artificial selection. The experiments continued under Dirk Miller, one of the scientists who had worked on Alice Wesker's project. As the Kodoku Project collapsed, its researchers turned against one another. Miller survived and assumed the identity of the island shaman. From there, he continued manipulating the remaining villagers and monitoring the creatures produced by the lab. Miller explains that Morio and the daemon are the two strongest surviving subjects. Their confrontation is intended to serve as the final Kodoku battle. The winner will become the ultimate specimen, carrying the most powerful virus developed on the island. While exploring the facility, the survivors accidentally awaken a hunter, one of Umbrella's reptilian comet bioweapons. The creature attacks the group and mortally wounds Inez. Hikaru, who began as a nervous, physically unimpressive television worker, confronts the hunter and manages to kill it. Inez dies from her injuries, leaving Claire devastated. Her death also forces Hikaru to accept greater responsibility for everyone still alive. Laura is also infected. Rather than reveal what had happened to her, she runs away into the lab. Hikaru follows her because he refuses to abandon her, despite knowing that she may become a zombie. Morio eventually defeats and kills a demon. Under the rules of Miller's experiment, Morio therefore becomes the final Kodoku survivor. The biological material inside Morio is now the completed project sought by everyone behind the incident. Claire and the others return to Miller's control room, but they find him murdered. He had been strangled with a wire. The killer is revealed to be Zeely. Zeely was never merely an idle survival contestant. She is an undercover operative working for the Chinese biological organization, Shenya. Her mission is to infiltrate the television production, locate the abandoned research facility, and steal the completed sample. Zeely uses Miller's eye to bypass the lab's retinal scanner. She then extracts the perfect sample of Morio's body. Claire and Takaru try to stop her, but Zeely overpowers them. She captures Takaru, suspends him above the lab and tortures him while preparing to escape with the sample. The infected Laura suddenly appears and attacks Zeely. Laura bites her and the two fall from the platform. Instead of dying, Zeely injects herself with the Kodoku sample. The virus transforms Zeely into a powerful, humanoid mutant. Her body develops bladed limbs, tendrils, and extreme regenerative abilities. Shenya sends mercenaries to recover her and the stolen research, but Zeely is no longer interested in obeying them. She massacres her own extraction team and turns on Claire and the others. Morio then returns and attacks Zeely. The two strongest products of the project begin fighting, repeating the ritual one final time. During the battle, Morio's mask is torn away. Morilu recognizes him immediately as Alicio Mabu, her missing brother. Alicio had been captured and transformed during the Umbrella experiments. His obsession with protecting his sister was a remaining fragment of his human personality, explaining why Morio had repeatedly hesitated to attack her. For a brief moment, Alicio protects his sister from Zeely. Claire obtains a rocket launcher and fires at the two mutants. The blast destroys Morio's body and decapitates Zeely. Alicio dies after protecting his sister, ending the suffering caused by his transformation. BSAA reinforcements finally arrive and evacuate the survivors. Parker, though severely injured, is still alive and helps coordinate their escape. Hikaru, Mayu, and the BSAA pilot, Hendrik, board one of the helicopters. During the flight, Zeely's mutated head attaches itself to the aircraft using its tendrils. The creature damages the helicopter and attacks Takaru. Realizing it will continue regenerating, Kuru forces a grenade into Zeely's mouth. Maya helps sever the tendril holding him, allowing them to escape moments before the grenade detonates. The explosion destroys Zeely and brings down the helicopter. Parker and the remaining BSAA forces locate Takaru, Maya, and Hendrik, and rescue them from the sea. Several weeks later, Claire completes her report on the incident. Sornido de Tortuga is placed under quarantine. The White Castle is abandoned, and the remaining infected creatures are left isolated on the island.